personal shipper.
Hi, I'm Andy Garcia.
I'm Sam.
I'm Lauren.
And our presentation is on drones. So drones or UAVs or UASs, unmanned aerial vehicles are flying, or most of the time they're flying vehicles not controlled by a person on the actual vehicle. So they're controlled from a distance. And it can be anything from like basic quadcopters that you can just use for recreational use to drones overseas used for warfare in Afghanistan and the Middle East. So.
Hi, I'm Amber Sigmund, and this is my partner Liam Bridge, and we will be focusing on the pros of drones. Drones have been used since the late 1900s, and the FAA has finally allowed drones to be used for the public in the mid-2000s. Drones are now trying to be used for business, government, and recreational uses. Drones are unmanned aerial vehicles, and they've been kind of a hot topic in politics lately, whether the FAA should be allowed to make stricter regulations or loosen the regulations on drones.
In the case of drones, they're not exactly the most sturdy objects in the world. They're rather fragile, and because people aren't exactly comfortable with buzzing flying objects over their heads, they tend to throw things at them and sometimes start firearms. In the case of an animal rights activism group, SHARK, which stands for Showing Respect and Kindness to Animals, their drone was shot down by some hunters who believed they were intruding on private pigeon hunts. This isn't the only case that this has happened in, and should a drone fall out of the sky, it can obviously cause injury to property or person.
The armed forces have used drones more extensively than any other group in the past 100 years. Despite common misconceptions, drones are not necessarily a new thing. They've been used a lot, as recent as early as the Vietnam War and the Korean War. They're cheap to make, easy to use, versatile, and most importantly, they keep their operators well out of harm's way.
Imagine living in constant fear that you and your family can be killed by United States conducted drone strikes. Imagine being scared to attend school, weddings, and funerals. This was a reality for Navia Reumann. She's now 12. In 2013, of October 2013, a drone strike hit her village in North Pakistan and killed her grandmother while she was gardening. This is a picture of her testifying in front of Congress, and only 4 out of 430 representatives showed up. She asked why her grandma was killed and what her grandma did wrong, and no one answered her, and no one listened to her. She now suffers from mental she's mentally scarred, and her sister suffers from hearing loss. And in October, in January 2006, Ayman al-Zawahiri was targeted by the United States by an airstrike, and he was not killed. 10 months later, at a religious school, he was thought to be skiing there, but he was not there, and the drone strike hit that school and killed 69 children. Just imagine being a parent having to bury your own child. The youngest was age 7, and none of these children did anything wrong. They thought the headmaster was a militant, but they could have just targeted the headmaster by foot. And 1/3 of all those drone strikes resulted in the death of children.
Paul Meisner is the Vice President of Amazon Prime and Global Public Policy. He is creating different types of drones to fly in different weather, whether it's Phoenix, Arizona, where it's hot and dry, or Oregon, where it's wet and rainy. They will roughly weigh around 55 pounds and be able to carry a max weight of 5 pounds. They will limit the amount of time that they have to deliver the packages. Each package should arrive in around 30 minutes. This allows people to get their things that they want sooner, and it's easier for them to get their packages.
So with drones today, they're pretty easy to get now, right, for recreational use, and cameras can be mounted onto them, and they're very versatile. So in the public, I think that they're very bad to use because they can have the potential for malicious acts such as identity theft or, kind of perverted stuff. Maybe, it's just lots of potential for malicious acts. And I think that if we put more restrictions on recreational use of drones, then it can save a lot of people's identities and privacy. And without them, that's a huge issue for the privacy of people and on public property and on private property.
Since the advent of wireless data, remote control toys have been enjoyed by hobbyists, young and old, for around the past few decades. These can be model airplanes, boats, or the simple toy cars you would find in Toys R Us, vended by Mattel. It's estimated that from 2012 to 2017, the global remote control toy industry will grow by almost $700 million. However, the United States is only cutting into an incredibly small percentage of this new wealth, making it important for Congress to regulate, to pass new legislation regarding drones and remotely controlled vehicles.
In conclusion, drones, while they could be beneficial, are still under development, and for now, they're more costly than they are effective. Not only is the economic cost effective, but if you think about it, the cost of a human life that didn't do anything wrong, as opposed to simply waiting and doing it the old-fashioned way, we're ending up spending more than we're receiving.
In conclusion, me and my partner, Leanne Bridge, both agree that drones should be used in government, recreational, and commercial uses. As we said earlier, the commercial uses are speeding up the process of package delivery time. They make men go overseas less to fight terrorist attacks, and they allow pictures and other recreational uses to occur.
Questions?
In conclusion, the slide I have noticed, that it's a LAPD drone free, so is there a motion to put drones into police departments or not?
Some police departments use drones for tracking vehicles that have been stolen, like stuff like that. So not a lot of police departments have integrated drones into their system, but a noticeable amount.
Are they using quadricopters or like actually?
It depends on the situation. There are a few police departments who have decent surveillance drones that can go pretty high in the air just to with nice cameras to spot license plates and stuff like that. And there are also quadcopters to cover large areas fast. But
So you mentioned drones taking pictures for recreational uses, but you didn't really go into depth. Could you explain a little bit more about that?
So say you're skiing or playing some sort of sport. You don't have time to stop and wait and take a picture. With these new drones they're making, you can just throw a drone up in the air and it will follow you and take the pictures for you.
That's awesome. Thanks.
Any more questions?
Very good.